Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Live, Laugh, and Eat show. Now, our special guest today is Camille Martin. She is a registered dietitian, a health blogger, and senior technical editor for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. She's also a former chronic dieter who wasted nearly 25 years of her life on a diet. When she finally quit dieting and started setting and achieving more meaningful goals, she lost weight without trying. She also made powerful connections between women's obsession to lose weight and the cultural conditioning that keeps them locked in a prison of silence, shame, and limitation. Now, in her book, Love to Lose, Love Your Life, and Watch the Weight Loss Itself, she uses what she learned on her own weight loss journey to help other women stop wasting their lives on a diet, embrace everything about themselves, achieve what they're truly capable of, and lose weight in the process. She received a Bachelor of Arts in English from the University of Georgia and a Bachelor of Science in Nutrition from Georgia State University. She's a vegetarian, a marathon runner, and an avid reader who loves to travel. She lives in Charlotte, North Carolina with her two daughters and their rescue dogs. Welcome, Camille. It's so nice to have you here today.
Thank you, Bernadine. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
So before we get into the juicy stuff, can you tell our listeners, how did you get started in your career? You know, a little bit about your story, because as you know, we all have a story.
Yes, we do. Well, I became a dietitian totally by accident, and that was through my own journey of, as you said, trying and failing to diet off the same 10 pounds for almost 25 years of my life. So I started dieting when I was 12 years old, very, very young. I was constantly getting the messages that most girls get even today, but that was back in the 80s. But that, I needed to be thin, I needed to be pretty, I needed to be quiet, and basically look good above all else. I got the message very, very strongly that what I looked like mattered more than anything. So I worked really, really hard to keep myself in shape and I was always fluctuating back and forth, 10 pounds heavier, 10 pounds lighter after dieting. And that was because I was eating emotionally, and I didn't recognize that until years later, but I trained myself to eat to make myself feel better from that age, from 12 years old on. And I got trapped in a cycle of eating to make myself feel better, gaining the weight, and then being desperate to lose it and trying to diet the weight off. And no diet I ever did worked. And then I was taking diet pills. I was over exercising, trying not to eat. And then eventually I became bulimic. So that it felt like that was my only option at one point, which was in college, when you had no structure of your family and school, like your traditional home life, to keep you kind of in check. So it was a very painful experience. And then when I graduated college and lived alone in Atlanta, Georgia for my first job, I was doing all of the same crazy stuff. And it was mentally so draining and emotionally draining. And I just decided one day, after like having basically a breakdown, I just said, I can't do this anymore. I cannot continue to spend one more day or one more moment totally obsessed with what I'm going to eat, what I'm going to try not to eat, how many calories did I have, how many fat grams, did I do a 5-mile run? And if I didn't, I felt like a loser, and I just couldn't take it anymore. So I decided one day I was going to quit. I was going to quit dieting. I was going to quit being so hard on myself and just wake up tomorrow and just be. And I was actually really afraid that what was going to happen is I was going to gain a ton of weight if I allowed myself to eat, if I felt hungry. But the opposite happened. So whereas before I would sit down on the couch and eat and eat and eat, and then, have this total zone out and feel guilty and ashamed afterward, when I allowed myself to eat, and even if it was in an unhealthy pattern, the resistance that I had felt previously was gone. So it wasn't interesting anymore I didn't need to shove anything down because I was just being peaceful. So long story short, on that part of that journey, I decided to educate myself about nutrition. And so I would look it up online if I had a question. And I got really excited about it. I decided to take a class after work at the university in Atlanta. And I kept going and I became a dietitian. So it wasn't planned. And basically, to bring it full circle, my mission is to help women get out of that destructive cycle and just break free of it and be released from it, because it's destructive and it will literally kill you mentally and emotionally.
Yes, I love your story. And, I think that um, the word diet, I don't like the word diet. Um,
No.
it's like a vicious circle. I mean, I was there as well. You go on a diet, on Monday you start.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, by Wednesday you're like, okay, no, I can't do this diet, it's too much. Or you're going 2 weeks and it's just tiring, it just makes you tired,
Yes.
you know
Yeah.
and then you feel afterwards, you just feel like a failure, like you failed yourself. How do you, with your clients, how do you get out of that? I mean, you told your story now, but if there's somebody coming to you and she says, I am just so tired, I'm just keeping on dieting and dieting, then I get off the roller coaster, I pick up the weight again, and then I go back again, and then it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
how do
Yeah.
you, how do you help a woman like that?
Well, the first thing I tell people, two very, very important things. Number one, if you want to change anything in your life, you have to let go of shame. Because if you feel ashamed of your eating or feeling out of control, you're never going to move forward until you can say, listen, I understand. If you're eating emotionally and you feel incapable of changing the way that you're eating, chances are that you trained yourself to eat emotionally, and there's no shame in that. You just have to step back and say, it's not me, it's training, and I can unlearn that. But the second thing I tell people is that I know you feel like a failure after dieting over and over again and it doesn't work, but you are not the failure. So the thing about diets is that it's not like a few of them work and then a few of them really don't work. None of them work long term. And there are reasons for that. It's not because South Beach is good and Atkins is bad. And, all of this stuff like eat right for your blood type and all of these things. They all look different on the surface, but underneath they're the same. They have the same structure, and the way they're structured is why they don't work. But the problem is that when you're dieting on so many different diets and they all look so different, you feel like it's you because you're the common denominator, like I didn't have enough willpower, or I just can't stop eating and I'm out of control. And that sense of failure and shame makes you more desperate to find the next diet. So it's so easy to be lured into that. But, lots of diets, and I hate that word too. And I really hate it that they call us registered dietitians. I wish it was, registered nutritionists, because it is about nutrition. But there are lots of things about certain diets they're not bad. I mean, like, it's not bad to do the Whole30 and like eat whole foods. And, that's a great focus, but it's the mindset that you take on when you're dieting, which is why it doesn't work. And then you feel like the failure. So I tell people, let go of the shame. It's not your fault. You can take control and take responsibility, but stop blaming yourself for failure. And number two, diets don't work. They just don't. So yeah, if you quit dieting, if you decide to accept yourself and love yourself right where you are right now, it's hard to do. But if you do that, and then you say, I'm going to quit doing all of this crazy stuff, you are 50% done. You have already taken leaps and bounds toward the finish line.
Yeah, I want to go back to mindset. Mindset, I feel, is so important. If you want to lose weight, I always think, or I always tell my clients that, you can go to the gym for 2 hours every day, and you can like eat, great. But if your mindset is not ready, you know, if you're not working in your inner self, all in
Yes.
here, you will see a change. You will see some weight loss, you will see some, but it doesn't last so long, because you're going back to that dark place, if I can say that.
Uh-huh.
And, you all start all over again,
Yeah.
and I also think that the media, you go on Instagram, you go on social media, and you see these women, and they doing this diet, and they like perfect.
Yeah. Oh,
And
it's
you
awful.
think,
Yeah.
I have to look like that. I have to do that. So yeah, I really think, mindset is really like, working what's in here,
Yes.
and take it from there.
Well, you're right, Bernadine. And the thing about your mindset and your thoughts and how you feel on the inside, whatever you're feeling on the inside will ultimately show up on the outside. So weight is a symptom of what's going on inside. But so the problem is people are connecting the weight just with the food, but it's the reason why you're choosing the foods you choose and you're eating the foods the way you do is because of how you're feeling on the inside and the thoughts that you think. And there's also a time delay. So like people get so frustrated. It's like you can't connect that your weight is showing up from what's going on inside of here, because it could have been, 3 weeks ago, you had an awful experience and you were binge eating potato chips, and then you had your workout and whatever, but then it's showing up, like it takes time. So people sometimes don't connect those dots, but you have to change not just your thoughts, but like your belief system, like really your belief about who you really are. That's where it starts, because who you believe yourself to be, and we all are shortchanging ourselves. No matter how confident you really are, you still have no clue about the potential power that you possess. But in the realm of women and dieting and failing, I mean, we haven't even not just scratched the surface of what we're capable of, but we believe that we're not capable of much at all because we've been failing for so long. But identity shifts. So basically what you're saying, and I'm agreeing with you, is that you've got to do a lot of inner work, and nobody wants to do inner work. It's boring. It's like, I don't want to journal. I don't want to meditate. I just want to lose these 10 pounds and I want to move on with my life. But that doesn't ever happen. You don't move on because you go back to those same habits and patterns that you had before the diet. And then it just keeps starting all over again. One of my favorite quotes is, a year from now, you'll wish that you had started today. So like, just make a decision today. Like, I'm committed to taking baby steps over the long haul instead of, you can stay here in the same cycle, and next year wake up and you hadn't made any progress. So like, just embrace it, that it's baby steps and you're a work in progress, and you're a person, you're a human being. You're going to make mistakes. It's not that you have no willpower and you're a loser and a failure at life. Give yourself a break. We need to all do that, especially women. Oh,
I agree with you. And I think most women are so hard on themselves. If you are gonna change, not change, but work, on what's going inside here, and and you work on mindset, and you work on all those aspects, self-care, self-love, self-beliefs, and everything comes together, you will see such a transformation in your body overall, not
it's amazing.
even outside, inside as well,
Yeah. And then that'll show up, and then, give it a month or two and you'll start seeing changes. And the more you change how you see things and you feel, it's easier to make the right choices health wise when you're getting in touch with who you really are and just being nice to yourself. That was what switched it for me, was all that resistance of, I've got to, run 5 miles. I got to do a dead sprint. I'm not going to eat all day. And, all of this just resistance and this pressure, when you let it go. And another, just as a side note, another way women really hold themselves back literally is sucking in their stomach and holding it in and like trying to, stand so that your arms don't, you're just like contorting your body into all of these unnatural positions. And so you're literally holding on to the weight by doing that. So practice that. That's a good way to learn how to, it's hard to even just stand in my bathroom sometimes and just, I've trained myself to suck my stomach in for so long that it's like, it's almost hard, but you just have to notice, be aware. That's just one good tip, I think.
Yeah, now I want to circle back to, because I also think that self-love is so like, nobody talks about self-love. You know, how does a person get to self-love? By getting to loving myself, because we have listeners and I will sit there and I'll say, okay, it sounds all like I can do that, but how do a person get there? What's the steps you have to take to get to self-love? Because most women are, I don't love myself, I don't like what I'm seeing, I don't even look at myself in the mirror. But how do you get that person to love themselves?
That is such a good question. And I'm the type of person, I'm a type A, like I want to know what I need to do and I want to check off the list and then get to self-love. So I'm very much of a, let's get tactics, because it sounds so like you just need to love yourself more. Yeah. We all know we need to love ourselves more, but it's literally, it's not impossible, but it feels next to impossible when every time you turn around, like you said, you get on social media and there's a girl that has she's probably like 18 and she has the perfect body and she's got her green juice and we all feel like crap about ourselves looking at her. But yeah, to me, there are steps you can take, but the most important thing I think about taking steps to get to self-love is to start from a place of, it's all about resistance. Start from a place of just letting go and allowing, like in everything you do all day long, like check yourself. Like, am I racing around the house? I got to do this. I got to do this. And it's like, you're coming from a place there of like, we have to get stuff done. It's like, you can't just not do what you got to do, but it's like, slow down. Like that's an example. Or like I said, in your bathroom, getting dressed, like you said, a good one, looking in the mirror. Like I still cannot go shopping and try on clothes and look in the mirror. I won't do it. I can't. I'm just not going to. So that's not a self-love attitude, but maybe it's an act of self-love that I actually don't look. But because then that would make me feel awful.
Mirrors are different, from
maybe they could change the light for God's sake or something. But but yeah, it's like little stuff like that. Like don't suck in your stomach all day. Like just practice being aware. Like how am I really treating myself badly right now? And then there are active steps you can take. Like you can go outside for 5 minutes a day, just go sit outside in nature. Don't take your phone, just be peaceful. In fact, on Monday, I went to the mall to return a pair of jeans for my daughter. And I was so aware of like how I was just like on a mission, like blasting through the mall just to get to that store. And it's like, you know what, you have an extra half hour. Why don't you just get a coffee and sit down and just stop it and like relax? And I did. And you know what? It changed my whole day. So it's little acts like that. Just be aware of how hard you are on yourself, and in whatever way works for you, tweak it a little bit, walk outside, play some music, light a candle, just something. It doesn't matter how small. Yeah.
Yeah, I also think self-care goes in there as well. Because self-care, I think us as women, we tend to not look after ourselves, practice self-care. Sometimes when I tell my clients, do you practice self-care? My clients will say, no,
No,
it's selfish to practice self-care. It's not
no.
selfish to practice self-care. You have to sometimes just think about yourself as well. Sometimes you have to be selfish to become unselfish. That's the quote
Yeah,
with my clients, because you
that's
have to
good.
think about yourself as well.
When you can't, it's selfish, I think, to rob other people around you, your family members. If you don't practice self-care, you're giving them the worst version of yourself, you
Yeah,
know? It's
yeah,
a gift to them too.
yeah.
So,
So I want to talk about, I'm so excited about your book. Love to
oh, thank you.
have you live and watch the way love itself. Can you tell us a little bit about your book?
Yes, definitely. Well, so that the whole story I told about my experience, it's what I learned on that journey. So it's really the whole book is a shortcut to get, like, so you don't have to keep doing what I did. So how I ended up losing those last 10 pounds, or the same 10 pounds that I'd been trying to lose for so long, was that when I let go of the resistance,
Mhm.
and I started, that changed my thoughts. Those thoughts started changing what I was doing. And what I was doing was also then changing my thoughts. So if you consciously, instead of like by accident, like what I did, methodically work on changing your thoughts and your habits at the same time, you get exponential results. So I show in the book, I teach exactly how to spot the thoughts, manipulate them, work them into something better, and also take habits that you want to change. Start with one and then basically tweak it, like come up with 10 changes that you could make to this one habit. And then I get people to start with the easiest one and then add a little more. So it's really about turning a bad habit into a good habit, not replacing a bad habit with a good one. That's what we try to do, is say, well, I'm going to quit doing this. I'm going to quit eating a cheeseburger and fries, and I'm going to eat a salad instead. It doesn't work. So yeah, if you gradually modify a bad habit, it will eventually start turning into a good one. But the most important thing about my book, is that, for me, is what I want to share, is that women are so brainwashed to focus exclusively almost on their looks that they are by default ignoring their full potential. They're not even coming anywhere close to it. They're not setting goals that have nothing to do with what they look like. A large part of our energy is focused on, what do we look like? How can I lose weight? How can I look younger? So I teach people how to set a big goal that has nothing to do with what you look like and to achieve it. And so to do that, I get people to reconnect with, like, what was your dream growing up when you were a little girl? Like when you were like, oh, I want to be this, I want to be that. It's not that you need to go out and go become that, like an astronaut right now, but like you can pick that dream back up. And like, it's so nourishing to your soul to even allow yourself to pick it back up. And then just say, like, what's one small thing I could do to get back into that aspect of my dream? Like, I wanted to be an interpreter at the UN, and then, that dream just got trampled on by so many people. But then, pick back up your French book and go sit outside and read, that kind of a thing. But so it's about changing thoughts and habits to actively lose weight. And then it's also about setting and achieving a better goal, reconnecting with your creative side. And by doing all of that together, it gives you exponential results without all of the resistance and the pressure, and no failure, because there can't be failure. You're just baby stepping it.
I love that. I'm definitely gonna read your book.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was such a pleasure to have you today on the show. You are doing amazing work out there, and we are going to, feature your book in the Live, Love, and Eat magazine. So
Thank
if you
you.
are a reader out there, look out for the book in the Live, Love, and Eat magazine and read all about, what the book's all about and where you can order the book. I will also link all the details down this podcast for you if you want to connect with Camille, and we'll take it from there.
Bernadine, thank you so much for having me on. I love what you're doing too. And I think it's so important for women to put ourselves out there and share with other women and inspire them too, so that they know they're not alone and that you can do anything that you put your mind to, and you can become anyone that you want to be. So thank you for having me. I loved our chat.
And keep your light shining.
You too. Thank
Thank
you.
you.